Emilie Kiser has now responded after her 16-month-old son, Teddy, appeared in vacation footage sitting on a boat without a life jacket. In a statement posted on July 28th, Emilie acknowledged that Teddy should have worn the jacket for the entire ride and said her family should have done better. But one important part of the story remains unresolved. The public has seen a brief section of the outing, while the complete timeline of what happened on that boat has not been released. For verified entertainment updates without the rumors, subscribe to Startline Entertainment. The footage reportedly came from a June family trip to Mallorca, Spain. Fellow influencer Maddie Curtis posted a compilation from a day on the water involving her family and the Kiser family. In one portion of that video, Teddy could be seen sitting with his father, Brady Kiser, without a visible life jacket. The original compilation was later deleted, but copies continued circulating across social media, where the clip quickly became the focus of criticism and debate. The newest confirmed development is Emilie's written Instagram story. She did not dispute what viewers saw. Instead, she said Teddy should have remained in his life jacket throughout the boat ride, including the brief period when it was removed. She described the family as painfully aware of how quickly circumstances around water can change, and added that they should have handled the situation differently. That acknowledgement answers the first question. Emilie accepts that Teddy should have been wearing the safety equipment at the moment shown. What the statement does not independently establish is how long he was without it, why it had been removed, whether he wore it during other portions of the ride, or what safety equipment was otherwise available on the vessel. Emilie characterized it as a matter of moments, but no complete uninterrupted recording of the excursion has been made public. That distinction matters because two different claims are being discussed online. The first is fully supported by the available reporting. Teddy was visible without a life jacket during part of the boat trip. The second claim, that he never wore one during the outing, has circulated through online commentary, but it has not been established by the material reviewed for this report. The responsible conclusion is therefore limited to what the footage and Emilie's own response confirm. The reaction became especially intense because water safety is inseparable from the Kaiser family's recent history. Emilie and Brady's older son, Trigg, died in a hospital on May 18, 2025, 6 days after he fell into the family's backyard pool in Chandler, Arizona. Emilie was not home when the incident occurred. Brady was caring for the children at the time. Those facts turned what might otherwise have been treated as a short influencer controversy into a deeply emotional discussion about whether the family's public water safety message was being followed in private. The legal history of the 2025 incident should also be stated accurately. Chandler police completed an investigation and recommended that prosecutors consider one felony child abuse charge against Brady. On July 25, 2025, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office announced that it would not file the charge because, after reviewing the evidence, it concluded there was no reasonable likelihood of obtaining a conviction. That means police made a referral, but Brady was not charged or convicted in connection with Trigg's death. Since that tragedy, Emilie has publicly described the drowning as an accident that was preventable. She has discussed pool barriers, supervision, and water safety awareness, while also explaining that speaking about the loss remains extremely difficult. That prior advocacy is central to the response now. Viewers are not reacting only to a missing life jacket in one brief clip. They are comparing the visual evidence with the safety principles Emilie had asked other parents to take seriously. This is the first major turn in the story. Emilie's statement does not argue that the criticism is based on a misunderstanding. It agrees with the basic safety concern. She also said the family recognizes that some of the reaction comes from genuine care for their children. At the same time, she addressed the anger being directed toward the family and connected that anger to the continuing grief surrounding Trigg. Her statement ended with a promise that the family would continue learning, advocating, and trying to do better. That language is important because it frames the incident as a mistake rather than a denial, but it also explains why some viewers remain dissatisfied. For people who followed Emilie's water safety advocacy, the central question is no longer whether she understands the risk. Her statement makes clear that she does. The question is how consistently that understanding will shape the family's actions going forward. The public safety guidance is straightforward. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says drowning can happen in seconds and is frequently silent. It advises that children use life jackets for activities in and around natural water, including boating. Safe Kids Worldwide similarly recommends a properly fitted life jacket selected for a child's size, weight, and activity. For younger children, it recommends designs with head support and a strap between the legs. Open water also presents risks that are different from a swimming pool. Depth, currents, waves, visibility, and sudden movement of a vessel can create an emergency before an adult has time to place safety equipment on a child. That is why the most important principle is not simply having a life jacket available somewhere on the boat. The protection comes from wearing a properly fitted and fastened jacket before an unexpected event occurs. However, the safety conclusion should not be turned into an unsupported legal conclusion. The outing happened in Mallorca, and the public reporting does not identify the vessel type, its registration, its operating status, or the specific maritime rules governing that trip. Without those details and authoritative local records, this video should not claim that Emilie, Brady, or anyone else violated Spanish law. A practice can be contrary to widely recognized safety guidance without the available evidence establishing a particular criminal or regulatory violation. There is another line that responsible coverage should not cross. No one outside this family can diagnose how Emilie or Brady processes grief, and the boat footage does not reveal their private thoughts, motives, or emotional condition. Public criticism can fairly address an observable safety decision. It should not become a license to claim that a parent does not love a child, does not experience grief, or deliberately intended to create danger. None of those conclusions is supported by the public record. The more useful question is what accountability looks like after the statement. Emilie has acknowledged the lapse. The next measurable step is whether future boating and water-related appearances consistently reflect the safety practices she has promoted. That does not require viewers to ignore the footage, but it does mean judging future conduct through verifiable actions rather than assuming a private motive. The timing also matters. The Mallorca footage was recorded during the family's June trip, but Emilie did not publicly address it until July 28th, after the deleted clip continued circulating and attracting attention. The statement therefore changes the story from an unanswered controversy into an acknowledged mistake. What remains unclear is whether there will be an additional response from her representative, whether more complete footage will surface, or whether Emilie will discuss specific changes the family plans to make. The start line takeaway is that the strongest part of Emilie's response is its direct agreement with the central safety concern. Teddy should have been wearing his life jacket. The most debated part is her description of the period without it, as only a few moments, because the public does not have the complete footage needed to verify the duration. Viewers should neither stretch the short clip into claims it cannot prove, nor minimize the risk shown in the portion that is public. As of the latest available information, Teddy was not reported injured during the outing. The confirmed update is a public acknowledgement from Emilie, not a report of an accident, investigation, or criminal case connected to the Mallorca trip. The larger significance comes from the family's history and Emilie's previous advocacy, which created a higher expectation that water safety practices would be visible whenever her children were near open water. For now, Emilie Kiser has said the family made a mistake, understands the concern, and intends to do better. Whether that statement closes the controversy will depend less on another written explanation and more on what the public sees next. And that is the unresolved part of this story, not what Emilie said about the past few moments, but whether her future actions consistently deliver the lesson she has already promised to advocate.